Chris talked a little bit about the between patch Tuesdays, and we did see a large number of releases this last month. We break them out into three parts for those of you that are on the call regularly. We have security updates with CVEs, where the vendors do let us know what vulnerabilities are being addressed directly. A lot of times the vendors will tell us this is a security update, but they won't necessarily call out specific CVEs. So we break them into the second category here. And then finally, we have the non-security updates. I have both a Windows section, which we'll go through first, and then a Apple Mac OS section coming up here. So we did see, as usual, a regular group of Chrome updates. They are releasing typically weekly now. And so the first one that we see going back here to September 17th, they addressed 6 vulnerabilities. Back on October 7th, they addressed 11 vulnerabilities in Chrome. And of course, we saw the one that came out yesterday, the single vulnerability. Docker for Windows got an update addressing 1 vulnerability. Greenshot actually came out with a vulnerability reported against it. Incidentally, Greenshot's an interesting product. It actually was stopped in production about 3 or 4 years ago. We covered it back then. It went away and it has now come back under new management. So we are, once again, supporting Greenshot. For those of you who use that, it's a very popular screenshot type program. We did see an update for Firefox throughout the month, 43, older version. Again, 44 came out yesterday. 143.0.3 also got an update with 2 vulnerabilities. An ESR version, 140.3, came out throughout the month as well. This one back on September 17th. We did see regular updates for Foxit in the different versions that we support. There's the PDF editor, there's the subscription edition, the consumer version. Again, all of those address the same 2 vulnerabilities. So depending on what you're running there, you want to make sure you get those updated. We did see one update for Opera with a reported vulnerability back on the 18th from September. A Thunderbird ESR update addressing 4 vulnerabilities and a couple of updates for VMware tools. So if you're running those, you want to make sure that you get those updated as well. On the Apple side, we did see quite a few updates. We saw 2 updates actually for each of the operating systems this last month. I'll cover those here in a second. And a number of non-security updates as well that I'll cover. So we did know that Tahoe was released just recently. Apple did change the operating system numbering with the release of Tahoe, by the way. They've jumped, as you can see, Sequoia, the previous release is version 15. They've now gone to the yearly numbering system that a lot of the major vendors are doing, us included. They jumped Tahoe to version 26, representing the year 2026. The original release followed quickly with a security update, which included 77 vulnerabilities. And then they also did a hotfix recently with just 1 vulnerability. You can see it's listed across all 3 supported versions of their operating system, Sonoma, Sequoia, and Tahoe. And it was that one particular vulnerability, 2025 43400, which was an interesting font vulnerability. So you can take a look at that. I included the links behind each one of these versions if you want to go back and look at the list of vulnerabilities for each one of these. There was also a separate Safari 26 update that runs on top of macOS Sonoma and Sequoia. It did address 7 vulnerabilities, which are separate. So you can individually update Safari, the browser, running on top of those particular operating systems. As far as third party goes, we had 2 Chrome updates for Mac that came out listed here, 140 and 141. We saw that Docker for Windows update. There was also a Docker for Mac update. Actually happened to address the same related vulnerability. There was a Visual Studio Code update that came out a while back. So if you're programming on top of Apple, you can do that. Firefox, we saw a Firefox 143 update and an ESR 140 version as well, fixing vulnerabilities with that latest one. And of course, Edge. People run Microsoft Edge on top of Mac OS and instead of Safari, or maybe in addition to Safari. And you can see each one of these releases, which is coming out weekly pretty much, addressing multiple numbers of vulnerabilities. Again, these are the 4 releases that came out between the Patch Tuesdays, again, covering Microsoft Edge. In addition, we saw some Office updates. We saw an Excel update. These are all .101, version 16.101 that came out throughout the month. These were released back on September 17th. We saw 10 vulnerabilities in Excel. And 2 vulnerabilities in several other of the Office applications as well. Very common across each one of these. And finally, we saw a Thunderbird ESR 140 update that came out here back on September 17th, addressing 10 vulnerabilities.